Hey y'all, it's Passport Bro Visuals. Back at it with another one. So I just wanted to, touch bases on another video. So yeah, this one is more about NYC, the future. So yeah, first off, to start off, yeah, I do follow him on NYC, the future. I do follow him on Instagram. He did also follow me back too. I just noticed that today actually. But yeah, I'm a fan of him, and I think he does a lot of good things in the space. I don't fully agree with some things, but I think he's mostly good in the space personally. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about him and some of the issues I wouldn't say issues, but certain things to look out, as you're traveling as a passport bro, or just traveling in general. So yeah, the first thing is, you're gonna travel. You definitely have to. You definitely have to have your money right, well ahead of time in advance. I know he was kind of stuck. I know he is kind of still kind of stuck out there in Thailand still. So I know he's doing some fundraisers. He's been getting money. It's been kind of a struggle, but he's been kind of pulling teeth with it. He is getting better, getting some success behind it. But it has been a little bit of a struggle for him. So, but yeah, I disagree with the fact he should not have stayed out there for a month. Now it's been over a month, a little bit over a month now. But that was a kind of a bad plan, and I think just kind of overextended his stay. In his case, more like a weekend warrior or 2 weeks. That's what he should have did. 2 week stops, possibly three. You know, at the most. That way, at least he'll be back home. And he can work and do what he gotta do and get ready for his next trip. But yeah, as you're traveling, so you gotta make sure you have enough money in advance. Before you travel, have a good spot. And I know that a lot of them they say a lot of these guys like Rello, NYC the Future, some of these other travels, they say they got a spot or they looking at it in advance, but they really just looking at it per se once they get there. They probably got a little bit of an idea, before they get there, but you kind of want to have a solid idea of a place you want to stay at before you even get there. You know what I'm saying? So also a backup place too, just in case. So I know that was kind of an issue. I know you did a couple of videos. It was just kind of hanging out in the street and stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely something you don't want to do as a traveler. Also, the other issue I think that he kind of struggled with, because he overstayed his stay there in Thailand for a month, but he really probably should have did two, was the fact that he most likely, a lot of these travelers, and I think that's the thing with Rello also, a lot of these dudes ain't really paying attention to the exchange rate. And I'm going to use Vietnam as an example. When I checked, when I first saw it, then it should still be around there, but their currency is the Vietnamese dong, DONG. So $1 to the Vietnamese currency is, last I checked, was 25,000 bills of their currency, and that's quite a bit over there. So you take $100 or $1,000, you're definitely hundreds of billions or hundreds of millions per se within their respective currency over there. I think they're not paying attention to inflation, and I think they're not getting enough credit to the locals, because we out there, you're in the street, but when you're in these types of countries, you're dealing with a lot more vendors, street vendors, and I don't think they're paying attention to the exchange rate as far as inflation. And I think they're overspending, and I think it is spending too much money on women, but I think they also getting played also when they out there buying things, even if something small like from the gas station or a little corner store or some street food or for dinner, for them and the girl. You know what I'm saying? I think they're getting cheated. I do know you're supposed to, like in Colombia, you're supposed to establish the price, have the, like at a restaurant, you're supposed to have them acknowledge the price that they said in advance the first time. Then they come back and you got the bill. They try to change it. They can't change it because, you remember that they acknowledge this price. And I think that's what they're doing over there. But they don't have to do that per se. They can just jack it up and you think it's nothing because it's probably just an extra $2 for you, maybe at most $5. But that adds up if you're out there constantly throughout the day, especially if you don't have good spending habits as far as saving money and stuff like that. So, and I think that's a big reason why he ended up kind of stuck out there, kind of somewhat going day to day. Rello basically is doing day to day, and I don't think he's really doing anything. And I think that's kind of where NYC the future's at. I think he's better in he's good with his commentary. He's good with the videos, but I think he's better with commentary. I think he can get better at that per se. I think that kind of fits him better. Doing a live panel with a bunch of people and doing the commentary. So I think that fits him better for him. But yeah, you got to pay attention to these vendors out there because, like I said, they're going to get you as far as the money. Like I said, it may be an extra $2 for you, $2-3. But the extra $2-3 kind of adds up. You got $100 from a sub or a few subs. You kind of want to spend, 30, 35, let's say for the day. But you kind of spend 45, and you don't think nothing of it. But you don't realize that the places you went to add up to that $45 probably tagged on an extra a few dollars in their currency, which eventually equals up to a few dollars more on the American currency. So that's something you got to pay attention to. And like I said, these people ain't really stupid. They know your dollar is, like I say, 25,000 bills of their currency. So theoretically, you probably could go over there. Not that it's smart, with $100 in the exchange rate, give or take. You look at inflation. So you can stay at, say you probably had 25,000 bills. You probably could go over there with $100. That's not the best decision, but I think you probably could do that theoretically. But like I said, you still got to look at inflation, look at the prices of the place in the area where you're at, if it's a decent area. But definitely inflation is going to kill you. But they basing that off of the strength of the U.S. dollar, which means you still have to generate a lot more money. So, but that's the thing that the travelers aren't really paying attention to. And I think that's what got NYC the future kind of messed up a bit. And that's still what getting Rello messed up too. Although I think Rello's still ultimately over tricking. He's overstaying in Kenya. He's staying out there another week. I'm going to do a video on that. No, actually, we'll talk about that, but I'll do another video. I did a live today. He's probably still doing live for like additional $300. And that's to cover the rest of the week. So he try to sleep with one more girl, which really that's just all he's doing. He's just wasting your money. But like I said, the situations he was having earlier in his trip, they want more money. That proves the point that they're not as stupid as you thinking, you know what I'm saying? But that's because you're getting money from other people, so your dollar is not really stretching like you want it to stretch, per se, you know what I'm saying? So you got to definitely pay attention to that. And I think that's what's going on with NYC, the future being kind of stuck out there in Thailand, even though it's a good country, a good spot for him, that he likes it, And I think that's what's Rello's definitely at also, despite, losing all his channels every 5 minutes, so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's definitely something you gotta pay attention to. And it's not just like I said, little vendors or restaurants. It's these apartment complexes, the Airbnbs. They're all trying to get that extra dollar because that's a lot more money in their currency. Yeah, sure, I can give her $1. I can give a vendor $1. That's 25,000 bills in their currency in Vietnam. The Vietnamese dong. Why do that when she can possibly stretch one more dollar out, that'd be 50,000 bills in her currency. You know what I'm saying? So, but you don't think about it like that, because it's just one extra dollar. But said that's a lot of money in their currency. You probably don't see. That's probably not even their yearly salary. They probably make that in a few years. So you really just kind of somewhat paying their way a little bit, paying their future a little bit. So I think that's something to definitely look into, pay attention to. But yeah, I do mess with. I saw that video he had NYC the future with that girl. Talking about go take a shower and stuff like that. That was a little bit funny. That Floyd thing was kind of, I don't know what that was, making those baby sounds for her and stuff. That was definitely interesting. Definitely don't do that. But yeah, he with that girl, that was cool. Probably wouldn't have had her as much on camera like that. You know what I'm saying? But he was kind of, he don't realize, Casanova and really just Casanova, possibly Floyd too, in the chat. But he don't realize that, pressing her to take that shower, that's going to pull her away from, hooking up with you. I think the NYC, the future didn't see that. So, that's something, something he, just got to get better at reading the room, so on that. So, yeah, I think that's, but, it still worked out for him, but that's something, definitely look into in the future, so, to not do. But, yeah, so back on the Velo situation, he did a live literally yesterday. He got I think it was 200. Yeah, 200. He barely got it. And then he's doing the one now for the 300. No, he needed, he definitely needed 200 because he needed that to, he needed 300. Or was it 4? No, he needed 400. Something like that. He needed 400. He got the money for the ticket, but he claimed the trip is only thing he could set up for was Friday, so that was the closest date. But he could have, that's the case. It's not worth trying to get some more box. You know what I'm saying? Just get home. But now he's doing a live for $300, and that's supposed to pay his way for the rest of that week. But his situation, like he said, he was paying day by day. And that was eating up his money as far as getting home, you know what I'm saying? Because he had paid for that ticket to go out to Thailand. I think he's going to go straight home. He might take one attempt to try to either sleep with a girl or try to see if he can do a fundraiser so he can probably stay longer. But he's probably most likely not going to risk that. So probably not going to risk that, but I theorize his channel probably. I think YouTube's giving him a chance to get home. Like I said, the fact he can get money off the lives, that's still something, still successful. I think they're gonna give him a chance to get home. He probably do one more live. And they probably either block him or ban him, or delete his channel at least again. But I think they're just giving him a chance just to try to get himself home. So. Yeah, so that's what I think on that. Overall, yeah, he's just a trick. He's tricking. You know what I'm saying? Austin and KG, they still trying to save face over there.